This is a letter from the Social Security Administration. It came to my house with my name on it. For 18 years, I delivered these to other people. I never once thought to check my own, and when I finally did, I learned they had been paying me less than I earned. For years. Not a mistake I made. A mistake that nobody on this earth gets paid to fix. There is a check sitting on this table because I finally asked. It took 5 questions. Let me give all 5 to you. My name is Frank. I am 72 years old. I taught shop for 11 years, and then I carried the mail for 18 more, in the same small town where I raised 3 kids. I buried my wife Margaret 4 years ago. I live on a pension, and what the 2 of us saved, and a Social Security check I always assumed was correct, because why would it not be? That one assumption cost me more than I want to admit. And it is very likely costing you too. Here is what we are going to do. I am going to show you 5 ways Social Security may be paying you less than you are owed. If you were born before 1960, lean in close, because the older your record is, the more of these are likely to be hiding inside it. For each one, I will tell you who it happens to, the exact form or phone call that fixes it, and what it put back for me or for someone I love. Every single one of them is free. Number 3 is the one that should make you sit up in your chair, because for 40 years they told millions of people they did not qualify, and then the law changed out from under that sentence. And the last one is the one nobody mentions at the funeral. That is the one I had to learn the hard way. Stay with me. By the end, you will have all 5 questions and the 3 phone calls that answer them. Before the first one, here's what most folks our age get wrong. We treat the government check like the tide. It comes in, it is whatever it is, and you do not argue with the ocean. I believed that for 70 years. But a Social Security benefit is not the tide. It is a calculation run by people and computers, off records going all the way back to your very first paycheck in 1960-something. And anything built by people from records that old has gaps in it, wrong years, old penalty rules that were supposed to be fixed and were not. The check is not wrong on purpose, but it is not wholly either. You are allowed to ask whether it is right. So let us start with the one you can check this very week for free, and I am giving it to you right now with no build-up. Your benefit is built on your earnings record. Every year you worked, every dollar your bosses reported, and you are allowed to see the whole thing. Go to the Social Security website and make an account, the one they call My Social Security, or, if you would rather, pick up the telephone. The number is 1-800-772-1213. Tell them you want a copy of your earnings record, and they will mail it to you. Then run your eye down the column of years. You're looking for one thing. A year you know you worked, that shows a 0, or a year where the pay looks far too low. It happens more than you would ever guess. An employer reports it wrong, a name change, a number typed in backward, and every wrong year drags your benefit down for the rest of your life. Now here's the part the frightening videos never tell you. You do not need your old W-2s to fix this. I hear that worry every time. Frank, who on earth keeps 50 years of W-2s? Nobody does. And here's the good news. The Social Security office already has most of your wage history reported by your employers, so you start by asking them to check what they have against the truth. If 1 year is truly missing, an old pay stub or a tax return can help prove it. But you do not begin by digging through 50 years of paper. You begin with one phone call. The form is free. It is called an SSA-7008, a request for correction of earnings record. I found one missing year on mine. Fixing it was a single form and one phone call. Now, The reason I ever opened that first letter, the reason any of this happened at all, has to do with Margaret, and with a second envelope that is sitting on this table right now, face down. I am going to turn it over at the very end. It is the one that still gets to me. Number 2, the benefit hiding on somebody else's record. Here is something most people never learned. If you are married, you can receive up to half of your husband or your wife's benefit if half of theirs is more than all of your own. Up to half. A great many women who stayed home or who worked part-time while they raised the children have a small benefit of their own and never knew they were allowed to step up to half of their husband's. And here is the part that stops the table at the diner. It is not only for married folks. If you were married for at least 10 years and then divorced and you have not remarried, you can claim on your former husband's record. It does not cost him a dime. He is never even told. A woman I know, divorced near 30 years, too proud to make any fuss, was living on $400 a month from her own work. She qualified for nearly double. On an ex-husband she had not spoken to since Reagan was president. The call is free. The words are simple. I want to know if I qualify for a spousal benefit. Number 3, and this is the one I promised would make you sit up. For more than 40 years, there were 2 rules with ugly names: the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset. I will not make you memorize them. Here is what they did. If you earned a pension from a job that did not pay into Social Security, and that is a great many teachers, firefighters, police officers, and yes, some of us who carried the mail under the old system, those 2 rules quietly cut your Social Security down, sometimes by hundreds of dollars a month. Sometimes they erased a widow's survivor benefit down to nothing. For decades, people fought to undo it. And at the very start of 2025, it was undone. A law called the Social Security Fairness Act repealed both rules. If you were hit by them, your check goes up going forward and you are owed back pay all the way to the start of 2024. That is the check on my table. Now hear me carefully because this matters. Social Security has been fixing most of these on its own, but not all of them. The ones they miss are the people who never even filed, because somebody told them long ago that they would get nothing. So why bother walking in? Dolores. You may remember Dolores from my Tuesday coffee group, the school teacher. Dolores never filed on her late husband's record. For 9 years, she believed she was owed exactly 0. She was not. This week, she finally asked, "So if anybody ever told you that a pension makes you ineligible, understand that that sentence is no longer true. Go and ask again. And understand this. I am not the Social Security office, and I cannot tell you your own number from my kitchen table. Every situation is its own. So call them, tell them you had a pension from public work, and let them tell you exactly what applies to you. Just do not let an old no keep you from asking again. Now ask the question I asked, sitting right here with that back pay check in my hand. If this was the law and it was owed to me, why did I have to go and find it myself? And the answer is the same as it always is. Nobody earns a commission when your check goes up. There is no salesman for your own back pay. The system is not wicked. It is just busy and quiet, and it assumes that if you do not ask, you must not need it. The only person on this earth whose job it is to see that you are paid right is you. Which brings me to number 4, and it is the happiest one, so let me say it plainly. When you fix one of these, you are often owed money going backward, not only forward. Here is the regular rule. When you finally claim a benefit, Social Security can pay you up to 6 months of it retroactively. 6 months. But those 2 repealed penalty rules I just told you about are a special case. For the folks who are already getting a check, the back pay reaches all the way to the start of 2024. That is the kind of letter I got. People hear the words back pay and they brace for a fight, a lawyer, a catch. There is none. It is simply the difference between what they paid you and what they owed you. And when that math lands in your favor, they send it. My letter came with a check I was not expecting. More than $4,000. I sat at this table and read it twice, not because I was suddenly a rich man, because for the first time in years, the number was finally the truth. Now, one warning before we leave the back pay. Pete at the diner will try to talk you out of it. There is always a Pete. He swears it only bumps up your taxes, so you come out behind for even trying. Half of a true thing, like most of what Pete says. Yes, depending on your income, a little of your Social Security can be taxable. No, a raise never leaves you poorer. That is not how a tax bracket works, and Pete knows it. Ask the Social Security office. Ask the free tax helpers at the library. Do not ask Pete. And number 5, the one nobody mentions at the funeral. When Margaret died, there were 100 forms, and people from the church, and casseroles I could not bring myself to eat. And not one person, not the funeral home, not the bank, not a single kind soul in that whole terrible week told me the one thing about money that I needed to hear. When you lose a husband or a wife, you do not keep both Social Security checks. You keep the larger of the two, and if the check you are living on is the smaller one, you are allowed to step up to theirs. They call it a survivor benefit. For some widows, it is hundreds of dollars a month for the rest of their life, and they go years on the smaller check simply because nobody ever told them to ask. You cannot do this one on the website, by the way. You have to call or walk in. I know what a hard call that is to make. I made mine 11 months after she was gone. 11 months too late because I did not know any better. So I am telling you now the way I wish to God somebody had told me. If you have lost your spouse, call and say, I want to ask about survivor benefits. And if you are married, sit your husband or your wife down tonight and make certain that the one who is left behind will know to ask. Let me put a number on all this quiet. The people who study it say tens of billions of dollars in benefits go unclaimed by older Americans every single year. Not because they were turned down, because they never asked. Some of that is somebody's heat this coming winter. Some of it is the whole difference between staying in your own house and having to call your kids for help, which, if you were anything like me, you would crawl across broken glass before you would do. Nobody is paying me to tell you this. Not Social Security, not a bank, not anybody. No company sponsors this video. I am 72 years old, I have what I need, and I cannot stand the thought of one more person sitting quietly on a check that already has their own name on it, just because the envelope never came. That is the whole reason I'm still talking into this camera. So, 5 ways, one more time, short and in order. 1, your earnings record. Check it for a wrong year and fix it free with that SSA-7008. 2, the spousal benefit. Up to half of your husband or wife's, even a former spouse of 10 years or more. 3, those 2 old penalty rules. Repealed now. If a pension ever made you ineligible, ask again, and ask about your back pay. 4, the back pay itself, up to 6 months and sometimes more, paid going backward. 5, the survivor benefit. The larger of the 2 checks, the one nobody mentions when you need it most. And those 3 phone calls, check my record, check my spousal and survivor, check my back pay. That is the whole key. And every one of those, the form, the phone number, all 5 questions I have written out for you down in the description just below this video, so you do not have to remember a single thing tonight. It costs you nothing to read. Now, that second envelope, the face-down one, let me turn it over. It is not from Social Security. It is the note Margaret kept by the telephone. in her own handwriting, the rules she said out loud for 40 years. Ask them first. I did not start listening until she was gone. Do not wait that long. I have made her 3 words into something you can keep by your own phone. It is free. 1 card, the 3 calls and the exact words for each, the same questions I just handed you. There's a link below to get it. It costs you nothing. It is just easier than scribbling on the back of an envelope. And for the folks who have asked me, yes, the bigger workbook, Frank's folder, has all of it written out, every call, with room to track what comes back to you. You do not need it to do a single thing in this video. The card is free, and the card is enough. There is a particular feeling on the morning the corrected check finally lands when you understand that the number is the truth at last, not more than you earned, not a windfall, just right. You sit out on the porch with your coffee, and the letter waiting in the box is one you do not have to be afraid of. Now it is your turn. Down in the comments, tell me 2 things: your age and which of the 5 you're going to check first. I read every one of them. Old mailman habit. I never could leave an envelope unopened. There is more of this. More of the quiet things nobody mails you, the questions that quietly change the number. Stay with me here on the porch, and we will get to them, 1 envelope at a time. Until then, look after your money, look after your knees, and call your kids.